We are back. We're back. It's 10:30 here in Seattle. We're a little early, but we wanted to plug in a couple hours here of Marshall Powers design. So give me a moment here to check my sigil to make sure that we're coming through clear, and then we will get into this. Make sure that we're coming through clear, and then it sounds pretty straightforward. So that's too loud, though. Let's bring that down a notch. All right. And if you follow me on Twitter, I've just posted that I am live on Twitter. And let's see. Otherwise, I am going to just kick through my media channels here real quick. Let's see. Marshall Powers equals developing sustained mechanics. Streaming the Marshall Powers project. Today we're working on sustained powers. And then there, and then I'm just going to kick through my channels here real quick. Okay, great. So the book cover that you're looking at, that is the spell point variant rule bundle that I had created. Give me another moment here. Production. I think I skewed all my crap here. Counter Fortress, Jammer. There we go. There, reply, flop, there. I think everything else is sitting pretty. So just give me a hot second to finish punching through all this. So the book cover there is the spell point variant rules that I've built. They're already published on the DMsGuild. There's a link to them down in the description down below. And other than a 5-color magic paradigm that blends MTG, Magic the Gathering, with D&D, Dungeons and Dragons, the larger value there is that all these books are 100% free to view. So you can read them cover to cover just to see what they're like, check out the artwork, read the mechanics. Some of that stuff is going to feel familiar here in the Marshall Powers book that we're creating, but this is a spiritual successor to the Color Mana Spell Point variant rules. This one is for embracing martial classes that don't necessarily want to cast spells, but need, sticking with the MTG paradigm, all classes should really have something to spend mana on. If you're going to play a Ravnica campaign, regardless of whether you're playing a fighter or a barbarian, there should be something there for you to spend mana on. It's a unifying mechanical system that reinforces the color mechanics of Magic the Gathering and just the general vibe of what Ravnica is in general. Same thing with Theros, same thing with Strixhaven. So we wanted to make sure that we were presenting mechanical options that grant you all of these things. So thus we bring you Marshall Powers. There's the playtest content. If you check down the description down below in the Patreon link, it'll lead you to this Marshall Powers playtest content, which is available for folks to use right now if they want. It spans all 20 levels. Because when I run a game, and I do every week, I run games to play from level 1 to 20, and I'm currently in my 4th campaign. That is now at 17th level, on our way to 20th level, and then we'll start a new campaign over again. So when I build something, I intend for it to be used from level 1 to 20. So that means that there's a lot more mechanical depth that you have to worry about, because 20th level play is different from 1st level play, believe it or not. So you need to take all that stuff into account. I've been playtesting most of these mechanics with my home table at 17th level right now, and I think the most interesting thing that's manifested from that testing experience, and once you grab this document, you're welcome to test as well, is that sustained powers is too complicated. Everything else is pretty simple. You know, we've walked through all this stuff quite extensively. Exploits generally modify a die roll. If you're going to roll a 20-sided die, you can spend mana to add bonuses to that die roll, whether it's a saving throw, attack roll, or an ability check, generally any D20 test. there are options for you to modify what those die rules are. Maneuvers are the most similar to actual spells in that you're going to use an action or a bonus action to spend mana and then target something and a thing occurs, whether it's an explosion at a location that you've targeted, or the enemy that you've targeted or the ally you've targeted teleports to another location. Bloody yada yada yada. Those are maneuvers. Reactions are self-explained. When a triggering condition occurs, you can take a specific action, whether it's reduce the amount of damage that you take when you fall, or deflecting an attack, to grant disadvantage to when you roll an ability, like Quip, as a reaction to when you roll an ability check using an Intimidate, Persuasion, or Deception skills. But before you know the check has succeeded, you can re-roll this ability check, keeping the better result. Like, that'll cost you a point of mana. So it's like little trigger conditions. Moving target. As a reaction to when a creature you can see moves while within reach of your melee attack, you can make an opportunity attack, even if the target is using the disengage action. So it's a trump reaction. So blah blah blah. So those are reactions, and strikes are similar to Smite that we've talked about extensively. Like freezing strike, your weapon deals cold damage, and you add a power die per mana burned of additional cold damage, and the creature's movement is halved until the end of its next turn. Basically modifying cantrips to boost with damage effects using mana. And then he has sustained powers, and so this is where our problems are starting. The way that sustained powers will work are they are concentration effects. The rank of the power determines how many mana it takes to trigger the effect, whether 1 to 4. And then, on top of that, excuse me, I got nostril stuff going on. Beyond that, the amount of mana you are sustaining at a given time sets the concentration DC. So if you're sustaining 4 mana worth of sustained powers, your concentration checks are all DC 14, or half damage taken, whichever one is higher. That's just basic mana mechanics from this core from the core mechanics, Knights and Tricksters, as well as Universal Spell Points. It's all basically the same on that front. Beyond that, though, the way that and these are sustained effects like Blind Sense. You are aware of your location of any creature on the same plane of existence as you within 10 feet. Times your proficiency bonus. So if you're 17th level, 60 feet away, you can sense the location of any creatures on the same plane of existence as you. But we complicated it. So what we did was we decided to allow locking mana. If you lock your mana, and this is something I introduced in the Elemental Keybook, which is part of the bundle that we have for the Spell Point variant rules. If you lock your key or your mana, you no longer have to make concentration checks. But it reduces the maximum amount of mana that you can use at any given time. So if your max rank is 3 and you have 3 ranks of sustained powers locked currently, that means you can't spend any mana because you've taken your max channel limit from 3 to 0. If you had a max rank of 3 and you were channeling, say, only a 1 mana, like this Blind Sense, it's 1 mana. So if you lock the Blind Sense, you don't have to worry about maintaining concentration on it anymore, and it'll last until you take however long, until you lose concentration or begin a long rest. That's what will disable sustained powers. And of course, dispel magic works on it, but if you lock it, you don't have to worry about losing concentration, like taking damage and stuff like that. So, but it gets complicated because when you locking itself is a very big advantage. You don't have to worry about maintaining concentration. You can wade into the stuff with your preferred set of buffs without worrying about them disappearing. The only drawback to it is that it limits how much mana you can channel at any given time while those things are locked. So the initial idea was spend mana, you get a thing, retain concentration. remove, then the next step is lock to remove concentration, but that cuts you off from doing other things. So the original idea was to compensate you for locking your concentration and losing access to other powers. We're going to give you a kicker. And that kicker is the lock effect. So when you lock, you gain this extra thing. The problem that we're facing at my home table is that locking is complicated. Like having this two-tier effect. Well, if I maintain concentration, I get this benefit, but what I really want is the lock effect. And so I want to maintain concentration, but no, now I want to lock it instead. And now to gain this benefit, I've lost access to all my other shit. And so, like, when you concentrate on a spell, you can still cast Fireball. If a paladin is maintaining concentration on Crusader's Mantle, he can still smite with 5 mana worth of stuff. It's just he has to maintain concentration on Crusader's Mantle. And that is a worthwhile risk because the DC for doing so is 10 or half damage taken, whichever one is worse. And we escalate these things. So like Crusader's Mantle being a 2nd level spell, it would be a DC 12 or half of damage taken. Your choice. So we're trying to, we're upping like you can stack multiple sustained effects. So if you have a max channel limit of 5, you can stack a number of sustained powers up to 5 mana worth of sustained powers and maintain all of those at once, which is also a big advantage that you gain over normal concentration spells as listed in PH. So that's already a big benefit. But the drawback to it is as you stack more mana onto your concentration stack, the higher the DC gets. So reward backed up with a penalty. Then we lock it. And we lock the mana and you gain the benefit. The reward is you no longer have to maintain concentration on any of those things. The drawback is you can't channel other powers when you choose to do so. You become more martial, mundane instead of magical because you've locked these magical effects into you. That is an option that you have. You don't have to do that, but you can. So the original idea was the reward is I don't have to maintain concentration anymore. The drawback, the penalty is I can't channel as much stuff at all while I do that. So I'm limiting my own breadth of power by locking those channels down. And I had originally thought that's not enough of a benefit. We need to have more of a benefit, which is the lock effect. So in the case of Blind Sense at 17th level, not only are you able to be aware of the location of any creature on the same plane of existence as you within 60 feet, you would then gain the lock effect, which is in addition, you're aware of the location of all objects within range as well, including walls, floors, and ceilings of structures in range, though you can't identify things like color or written text on these objects using Blind Sense alone. So you're getting this kicker effect on top of not having to maintain concentration anymore, and that's a step too far. So what we need to do is there's 45 sustained powers that currently exist, and our job now is to reformat all of them so that they don't have a lock effect. If the lock effect is so good that we lament losing it, so we can either get rid of the lock effect and leave the sustained power as it is, or we can replace the base ability with what the locked power actually gives you, or we can give you both the base sustained power as well as the locked power, or we can break it up into 2 separate powers, the sustained normal power, and then the locked power becomes an advanced version of that as a separate power. So 45 powers could remain 45 powers. It won't, but could potentially expand out to a whole 90 powers as we break up each power from its locked power. But more likely than not, we're going to end up blending most of them. But that is our current effort. We are blending the sustained powers so that they don't have a lock function. Being able to lock mana unto itself is a variant rule away from what normal 5 or 6E offers to you. So that is something that we want. That is something that we want to separate from. We want to simplify this system, so we're not making people take 2 steps away from where they're currently at. Just locking mana and increasing the DC for mana when you're sustaining stuff. That is as far as we should probably take this thing mechanically for layman, casual players to get it without diving down a really deep, mechanically complicated rabbit hole, which is what we've done. So I've saved all the martial powers as they stand currently already in a separate document that I can always go back and swap all these things back out. But the feedback that I've been getting on our playtesting is sustained powers are too complicated with this lock or not lock effect. You're going to remember the good effect, but you're not going to remember what triggers the good effect, whether it's just activating the power or having to lock it. And that leads to sad moments. And I don't want to create sad moments. I want to create moments where I get to use this power now. This is awesome. So eliminating the lock ability, being able to lock just means you can't lose it. And that's on you. That's you maintaining your mana versus being able to throw it around willy-nilly. Depending on your style of play, totally up to you. I don't need to limit that. So getting rid of benefits to lock is ultimately what's going to strengthen the entire Martial Powers project in general. So that is now what we are doing. So let's dive into that and modify right off the block. Blind Sense. Any creatures and objects on the same plane of existence as you within 10 feet times your proficiency bonus. There, that'll probably work. I am feeling waves of relief as we're going through this process, so I think this is a good thing. Crouching Stance. When you channel this power, you gain the following abilities. You can crawl and stand from prone without requiring additional movement. Attack rolls made against you while prone by creatures within 5 feet of you don't have advantage. Attack rolls you make while prone don't have disadvantage. And lock is you gain advantage on stealth checks while prone. No, I don't think you need that. But is there someplace else that could fit? Maybe down here. Oh, that's actually kind of cool. Okay, let's look that up real quick. 5e prone condition. So goofy. Prone. Prone. Attack roll and no statements about stealth checks, so that's worthwhile. And you gain advantage on dexterity stealth checks while prone. Period. Okay, let's go back to the top and keep working our way through. Crouching Stance. Power Armor. Your armor class is 11 plus dexterity modifier plus proficiency bonus. So when you lock it, you can create a defensive shield that can be used as a shield that you are proficient with. No, do not need that. The power armor itself is pretty damn strong. $11, so it's going to be a base of 13 plus your dexterity modifier, so that matches mage armor already. And then but it continues to grow, so it ended up being a 17 base plus your dexterity modifier. With your dexterity modifier, that could eventually be a dexterity of 22. So that's pretty good. If you don't have any kind of magical gear on you, AC 22 for just being naked is pretty good. Naked. Babies. While using a shield, the bonus of your armor class gained from the shield is equal to your proficiency bonus. It starts at 2 as a +2 with your proficiency bonus of 2, but eventually grows all the way up to 6. So between this and power shield, you could have 2 mana devoted to have an armor class of 15, 22, 28. Which isn't the best in the game, but it's pretty damn good. Typically, like 35 is like your top mark. So a 28 armor class at level 17, if you have proficiency with a shield, not bad. Let's see. I think what I'm going to do is leave these lock effects down here. Just leave them there for now. Like if I like the lock effect, but I'm decoupling it from the actual base power, I don't want to throw it away yet. Like this reaction is just like, it's obviously a modified shield. Actually, let's go up to the monk. Let's see if we built something for the monk. Actually, I don't have to go up to the monk. I can stay right here, and I can flip to my other document and see what I had said about the monk. So hold on real quick. Click. There we go. We'll put that one over here. Paladin, monk. Shadow, art of mobility, whirlwind attack, focus strike, key healing, flurry of attacks, martial arts die. Okay, we don't have it listed here. But what about our reactions? Follow deflection as reaction to when an adjacent ally, when you or an adjacent ally are hit by an attack roll from a source you can see. The attack is re-rolled, taking the new result. This result cannot crit. Double take if it's a footwork has a reaction to when you are hit by an attack roll from a source you can see. You gain a +5 bonus armor class that remains active until the beginning of the next turn, including against the triggering attack, potentially turning the miss into the hit into a miss. Okay, evasive footwork is good. And it's a reaction, so you can't stack it with like the shield spell, because the shield spell is also a reaction. So that's actually a really good modification to make. So good. This is important. We needed to do this. We can get rid of that aspect altogether. I like the idea of creating Let's do this instead. Power shield. You create a defensive field of power that can be used as a shield that you are proficient with. Granting period. The bonus to your armor class gained from the shield is equal to your proficiency bonus. There. Easy. Blended. Works. It creates a shield. You're proficient with it. You can use it. You create a defensive field of power that can be used as a shield that can be the shield does not doesn't require, sorry, we have to go hunt language. I'm making an animated shield. Animated shield is basically what we're doing. I don't need this open right now. Let's copy this and then jump over and temporarily paste it here before we carve it out again. You create a defensive field of power that can be used as a that can be wielded as a shield, that you're proficient with. This shield hovers in the shield okay, hovers in your space to protect you as if you leaving your hands free. The bonus to your armor class gained from the shield is equal to your proficiency bonus. Bam. There, that'll work. Creates a shield, shield defends you. Defense amount equals to your proficiency bonus. You must have proficiency with shields to use it. So, sorry, Rogue, you can't have it. Cool. Quick assessment. You can add your proficiency bonus when making an ability check that can use the perception or insight skill. If you are already proficient with either skill, you instead add the bonus twice as though you have the expertise, in these skills. And if you were to lock it, you can make wisdom and intelligence as a free action. Intelligence, perception, insight checks once during each of your turns as a bonus action. As a bonus action, and you can add your proficiency bonus when making an ability check. I'm gonna turn off this heater, it's starting to kill me. Alright, this lock ability is really good. Ranged assault. While sustaining this power, you gain the following abilities. You can strikes can be channeled when you hit a target with a thrown or ranged attack at long range. Normally, when you channel strike powers like smites, you can always hit with a melee weapon. You can always hit with a thrown weapon or a ranged weapon if they're in close range. This power allows you to amp that up to be any range, not just close range. And this would be, you can make an opportunity attack with thrown and ranged weapons against targets within 10 feet as though you were holding a melee weapon with the reach property. Ah! Yeah, I think I just want to make that. I think I just want to make that part and parcel of the ability in general. So let's do that. That is a really freaking great skill. You can make opportunity attacks against things within 10 feet as though you have reach. You can channel strikes at the far range. And you can create ammunition, non-magical ammunition, as part of an attack roll. So that's... I can't imagine someone not wanting to lock that, honestly. Like at first level, when you can only channel one rank of power, this is a really viable thing to actually lock. So I'm digging that. Good choice. There's another one. I think it's close quarters. No. I want to say there's another range stance. Rapid strike. No. Nope. Cool. Good consolidation there. Very pleased. God damn. This is great, man. I have to apparently I have to bio break. So So I'll be right back. Don't mind me, just being made out of flesh. All right. Thanks for your patience. Let's get back to it. All right, relentless. While sustaining this power, add 1 power die per mana sustained to all strength and constitution checks. And when rolling a strength and concentration check, and a result of 9 or less on the d20 is a 10. I can get rid of that. While sustaining this power, add 1 power die per mana sustained to all strength and constitution checks. That's too much. Because you could stack this with an exploit. So while sustaining this power. While sustaining this power, any strength or constitution check is a 10. While sustaining this power, rolling a 9 or less on a d20 while making a strength or constitution check is a 10. That is called reliable, which is a very high level rogue ability. It's like that's like an 11th level rogue ability that you're getting at first level. Maybe we should push that up to second. Oh, there we go. While rolling this power, gain advantage on any strength or constitution checks. And if the result of the d20 roll is 9 or less, it is a 10. That's pretty damn good. So we're going to push that up to second rank. Good choice. I think there's some Witcher shit down here. Hold on. Yeah. I'm just going to spell them out for now, because that's what we've been doing. We've been spelling them out. I think we got some Witcher shit up here for, yeah, Blood Hunter power conversion. And that's for maneuvers, right. Strikes, none of them really here. Blood Hunter, sustained power conversions. Strikes, got none. Maneuvers, reactions. Reaction power conversion. Maneuver. Power conversion. exploit power conversion. All right, Witcher. 1, aquatic adaptation. While sustaining this power, you can breathe water and gain swim speed equal to your movement speed. Equal to your walking speed. Double your walking speed. In addition, you have no penalties to melee attack rolls. Sufficient. While sustaining this power, you gain advantage on charisma checks. And we can get rid of the lock effect. Because they're basic. Dire Impact. While sustaining this power, add your proficiency bonus to your weapon damage rolls. And if locked, instead of adding your proficiency modifier, increase the damage by 1 power die. Okay, well, we don't need that. That's actually pretty damn good. Weapon attacks are magic, and you can add your proficiency bonus to your weapon damage rolls. Natural weapons are still weapons. So, do I need to spell that out somewhere? Maybe I do. Hold on. Let's go down in there to see if that's something I actually need to spell out. Any weapon you're proficient with, natural weapons or unarmed strikes. There, it's already pointed out. Bam. Thrown and ranged weapons can use powers when targeting within normal range unless a power ability or feature says otherwise. There you go. Good job, Kearney. You're covering your bases. I might spell it out separately, like rearrange stuff, but it's there, so that's the most important part. You're the most important part. You, the audience. You know, if you haven't subscribed, please do. YouTube doesn't really know what to do with long-form development formats like this. They wanted us to do shorts to get more engagement and more ad clicks. I'm building a document here, and that's going to be into a PDF that's going to be published in DMsGuild, and you'll be able to read the entire thing from cover to cover. You can already look at this alpha version of the open playtest content if you just follow the Patreon link down below. You don't even have to be a Patreon. If you want to support me and the channel, please consider joining the Patreon. There are no perks other than being in the cool kid crowd. Most importantly, the thing that I need the most right now are subscribers and hours of of content being watched. Once I get to 1,000 subscribers and I have 4,000 hours of content watched, I can start getting monetized for these stream efforts. And it's not going to be a lot of money. 10,000 people could earn me potentially, say, $200 a month. And I have 116 subscribers right now. But what it does do, if you are a subscriber and you stick around and you show up and find out what we're doing, A, you get a lead scoop on the stuff that I've got in the builds. B, you can get into the playtest documents such as this to start actually using this stuff right out the gate in your campaigns and provide me with feedback if you have any when you do. And then the third benefit is, of course, knowing that you're helping a little guy like me climb. So I do have in my art streams, I've got my Spelljammer token development, I've got my Spelljammer cartography stream, I've got an Eberron adventure development stream, and all these are pathways that lead to conversations about edition philosophies, current state of the game, and my perspective and opinion about being in the gaming industry for 35 years and being an active GM, DM, narrator for about 30 of them. So I'm happy to provide feedback and thoughts on stuff when I'm not doing hard code development like this, but stick around, show up to some art streams, ask me questions, and I will be happy to ramble about them for literally hours. So hopefully you're enjoying the stream, and this is something that you guys want to see more of. Again, like, subscribe, share, and find me on the Discords. Be welcome to shoot the shit with me. I'm looking forward to it. So back into it. Dire Impact, when also sustaining this power, weapon attacks are magic, and they can add your proficiency bonus to your weapon damage rolls. Good. Elemental resistance. When you channel this power, choose one type of damage: acid, cold, fire, lightning, or thunder. You gain resistance to this to the chosen type of damage. Are made with advantage. You gain resistance to this chosen type of damage, and gain advantage on saving throws to reduce the damage taken. To reduce the damage taken of the chosen damage type. There you go. The damage. Heightened power. When sustaining this power, when you roll a 1 on a power die, you can re-roll and take the new result. God, that's a shitty... That's not a great power. I handed that one out last week, and the immediate pushback was, I guess if I happen to be sustaining it, that's great. Luck. One's own luck. I'm gonna take this up to the reactions. OP. Sustain. When you Yeah, that works good. Might not start off with that as your top reaction to pick, but once you get like around level 15 or so, and you're thinking, what do you want to do to stabilize your character? Actually, One Zone Luck is actually not a bad option for that. Lycanthropy. While sustaining this power, you can shift in form into a lycanthrope creature, gaining the below benefits: heightened senses, gain advantage on wisdom, perception, and investigation checks. Feral Might, gain advantage on strength checks. Thick Hide, gain +1 bonus to armor class. And then Lock is gain unarmed attack that equal. I can get rid of Thick Hide. There. Rite of Dawn. When sustaining this power, you shed bright light in 20 feet. You can start in this effect during your turn with no action. Additionally, and you have resistance to necrotic damage. Yeah, okay. Let's see. When sustaining this power, you shed bright light in 20 feet. You can start or end this effect during your turn with no action. And deal radiant damage, and you have resistance to necrotic damage. There. Nice. Simple. Pretty cool. Two, close quarter combat. While this power is sustained, all melee attacks you may gain the grappling strike power as detailed above, gaining 1 power die to the result of the strike effect. In addition, while grappling, you good. Cloud Strider. While this power is sustained, you can fly using your walking speed. If this power is disrupted, You gain the benefit of a featherball spell. Let's see. We'll knock it down a notch. So while this power is sustained, you can fly using your walking speed. If you end your turn in the air, or if this power is destructed, you gain the benefit of a feather fall spell. There. Now we get to reassess Relentless. While sustaining this power, gain advantage on any strength or constitution checks, and if the result of the d20 roll is 9 or less, it is 10. On all strength and constitution checks. If the result of the d20 roll is 9 or less, it is a 10. That is actually not bad. It's not awesome. It's not the lowest hanging fruit that you're going to grab for. But it's I think it's worth 2. Is it worth 2? Holding. Please hold. It's advantage on strength and constitution checks. So it's certainly useful when it's needed. It burns 2 mana for the option. Yeah, that's good. Relentless trap spawner. While this power is sustained, intelligence investigation and wisdom perception checks that reveal the locations of any trap triggers within 20 feet of the space you occupy that you can see allows you. While this power is sustained, intelligence investigation and wisdom perception checks that reveal the location of any trap triggers, of any traps within 20 feet also allows you to automatically understand the general nature of the trap. There you go. And you gain advantage on intelligence, investigation, or dexterity checks using tools you're proficient with to disarm the traps. Is that worth 2 mana? Gain advantage on any intelligence and wisdom perception checks to notice traps. Any traps this way. Also, any traps revealed this way, you automatically understand the general nature of any traps revealed this way, and you gain advantage on intelligence investigation or dexterity checks using tools you're proficient with to disarm the trap. Easy peasy. Vigilance. While this power is sustained, any creature that begins its turn or enters your melee reach during its turn takes 1 power die of weapon damage for each mana sustained. For each mana sustaining vigilance. God, that's such a great ability. And you gain advantage on opportunity attacks against creature movement within melee reach. While this power is sustained, any creature that begins its turn or enters your melee reach during its turn takes 1 power die of weapon damage for each mana sustaining vigilance. God, I almost want to give you advantage to hit these dudes within your reach. Let's see. And then what? You gain advantage to attack with melee weapons. Any creature damaged by vigilance. Within melee reach. You gain advantage to attack with melee weapons. That works. Whew, man, this shit's getting solid. This shit is solid. Vigilance. While this power is sustained, any creature that begins its turn or enters your melee reach during its turn takes 1 power die of weapon damage for each mana sustaining vigilance. You gain advantage to attack any creature damaged by vigilance that remains within melee reach at the beginning of your turn. In addition, You know what? You don't need an addition. Vigilance is pretty damn strong unto itself. That's actually it's Thicket of Blades from 3rd edition, Book of Nine Swords. It's just the Thicket of Blades stance, modernized and hyped for martial powers. So what 2nd rank Witcher powers do we have? Hold on, let's go find them. Ooh, there's a decent chunk of them too. Neat. You know, I like these powers a lot more now that they've been simplified. Like, a lot more. They're far more direct. They got a bit more punch to them, unconditionally. I'm liking it. I am liking it. Sorry, some unnecessary editing happening here real quick. And back into it. Man, this stuff's fun. This stuff is fun. Resolved all that. Cover. Castigation. When you channel this power, choose a creature you can see. When you see this creature make a melee attack, it takes 1 power die of damage. And when you lock it, you always know which direction the chosen creature is while it remains on the same plane of existence as you. So when you channel this power, choose a creature you can see. When you see this creature, make a melee attack. It takes 1 power die of damage. That'll work. Omnilinguist. When sustaining this power, you can understand. You can be understood by any creature with a spoken language. Anything else I want to do with that? communicate with and understand I feel like I want to give it a kicker. Like, Tongues for 2 mana isn't bad. It's a stain, so it's not necessarily good. Comes on early. That's super useful. There it is. In addition, you can period. There we go. A little more useful there. Now you can at least verify if you have Omni Linguist triggered, you can at least tell if you're starting off with somebody that's friendly, neutral, or hostile towards you. That's good. Regeneration. While sustaining this power, when you have less than half your maximum hit points, but more than 0, you regain a number of hit points equal to half your proficiency bonus at the beginning of your turn, rounded down, until your hit point total is above half. If your proficiency bonus. There, that's good. Strange metabolism. While sustaining this power, you are immune to poison damage and the poison condition. Yeah, I think I'm okay with that. In addition, okay, that works. Unbound actions. While sustaining this power, you can't be grappled or restrained. That works. Unnatural resistance. When you channel this power, choose one of the power types of damage. Force, necrotic, psychic, or radiant. You gain resistance to the chosen type of damage. Chosen type of damage are made with advantage. And then the rest of it goes like there. Weapon resistance. You can channel this power or choose one type of damage. Bludgeoning, piercing, slashing. You gain resistance to the chosen type of damage. Kind of. When you choose this power, bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage. I don't know if that's proper English or not. I think there are some Blood Hunter, second rank. No? Oh. Oh, yeah. These were all Blood Hunter. Cool. All right, on to number 3. Surely I had a timer go off. I've been at this like what, an hour and a half, and I haven't had a timer pop. I haven't been using a timer. Let's get our timer back up and running. Start. We'll get through these, and then I think we'll be able to mash through the mechanics that we have, like the actual rules we have further up, and then I think we'll call it a day. So we're making really good progress, like really good progress here. I feel super confident about these powers now. I'm super excited. This is ridiculous. Giant growth. While this power is sustained, you increase your size along with equipment you carry and the space you occupy to Bam. There you go. God, Giant Growth is good. But it doesn't click in until 9th level, so it's... And of course, Huge doesn't click in until 17th level. So I mean, I like this. I like this when you sustain it with 3 mana as opposed to when you sustain it to 5 mana. I like that. I think there's a couple instances where that shows up inside the document here. But there's not a lot of them, so it's really neat. Look at Cloud Strider again. Fly. Okay. First blockade. While sustaining this power, a successful opportunity attack reduces the hit creature's movement to 0 until the beginning of their next turn. Nice. When you succeed with an opportunity attack, the creature must succeed on a Wisdom saving throw or be stunned until the end of the next turn. I think we have a Stunning Strike already, don't we? Because that's redundant. I mean, when you make an opportunity attack, you can use a strike effect with that opportunity attack. So, also stating its power, a successful opportunity attack reduces the hit creature's movement to 0 until the beginning of the next turn. That's not a... Why would I make that a sustained power? What's the benefit of that being sustained? I don't think it has a benefit. First blockade should be a reaction. If it doesn't already exist as one. Let's go take a look. Sunstrike. There you go. Oh, what if we make that an exploit? Holy shit, that's interesting. It's like a kicker effect. That's interesting. See, moves while within reach of your melee attack. You can make an opportunity attack. Even the creature. That is an exploit. Wait, no, that... G, A, F, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. There. Actually, I'm just going to call it blockade. While sustaining this power, no. Feels like blockade is a strike, though. Alright, so let's go back to the strikes and see what we have for a movement shutdown. Disarming, flaming, freezing, goading, grappling, life-stealing, poisoning, psionic, blinding, revealing, shocking, thundering, tripping. You use a strike, you can knock a large or smaller creature prone. Up to one size larger or less than or prone. Ensnaring, restrained, incapacitating, intimidating, provoking, bursting, delusional, overwhelming, stun, banishing, paralyzing. Okay. Tripping. There, the hit creature's movement is reduced to 0 into the beginning. We'll go with that. GHI. There. It can well, how is this different from restraining strike, honestly? Honestly, yeah, it's redundant. We don't need it. All right, bye-bye. Back to 28. All right, let's get back into it. All right, flurry of attacks. While while sustaining this power, you can use a bonus action, including the action used to sustain flurry attack, to make 2 attacks. Haste. While sustaining this power, your movement speed is doubled. While sustaining this power, you gain the following benefits. You gain the following benefits. Movement speed is doubled. Movement speed doubles. You get a +2 bonus to your armor class. You gain an advantage with dexterity saving throws from sources that you can see, and you can use your bonus action Ghostwalker, while it's sustaining its power as a bonus action, including when triggered. including there. You can become incorporeal or in the effect. While sustaining this power as a bonus action, including this round, if the power is channeled using a bonus action, you can become incorporeal or in the effect. You can become incorporeal. Period. Any round you end within an object, you gain 1 level of exhaustion, and you're ejected from that space, returning to the last position you occupied or the relevant location to that space. As a bonus action, including when the power is triggered or not, you can make an melee attack. Nah, we're going to get rid of that. Ghost Walking is pretty cool by itself. Rampage. We're in the third. Unstoppable. We're going to change that to unstoppable. Click that over. Rapid Strike. While sustaining this power, you gain 1 additional attack when you make the attack action. This power doesn't stack with any other power or effect that grants additional attacks during the attack action. Yeah, I'll go with that. You wouldn't be able to channel it. Well, restrained you could. Stunned you can't. Grappled. Yeah, grappled you could. Huh. Boy, that's conditional. That needs to be fixed. Oh, that's actually pretty good. We are going to make that a reaction. That's a good one. Assuming it doesn't exist already someplace. Hold on. Sustain, strikes, reactions. Anchor. Rite of Revival. Curse of the Fallen Puppet. Curse of Exposure. Reactive Future, Indestructible, Hexproof, Reactive Jaunt, Off Balance, Meticulous Effort, First Strike, Countering Strike, Unstoppable. Let's put it in here. As a reaction to when an effect or condition would reduce your movement to 0. There you go. As a reaction to when an effect or condition other than incapacitated or death would reduce your movement to 0, you can choose to ignore the movement penalty. No, caveat that. Unstoppable! So yeah, you're petrified, which would reduce your speed to 0, but you're still moving. You can't take any actions, you can't see anything, you can't take any reactions, you can't use any bonus actions. But they can't stop you from moving. So that's silly, but I like it. I'm gonna keep it. I just think it's fun. We're gonna have to sweep all of this shit. $34, $29, $28, $42. Where are we at in this process? We're past that. That's just kind of redundant. Yeah, we're gonna leave that be. Rapid strike, we resolve that. Aura of Axiom. While sustaining this power, any creature you successfully hit with a weapon attack roll must make a wisdom saving throw or any illusion and shape change effects targeting the hit creature end. How is that any different from Face Strike? Hold on. I think it's the same thing, which means I can get rid of it. Revealing Strike. Go back down there. Axiom Strike? I kind of like the sound of that. Yeah, it feels good. All right, look in here, buddy. There we go. Back at it. Axiom Strike. That feels right. Bursting Strike. So your damage increases by 1 power die per mana burned. All creatures within 10 feet of the creature hit other than you also take damage equal to the result of the power dice damage and can make a dexterity saving throw for half. Okay. Illusional strike. Your weapon. Oh, we're not doing strikes. We're doing sustained. So let's get back into sustained. So I'm happy with the strikes. Two. Two. Okay, 4. Alter reality. While sustaining this power, when a creature you can see within 30 feet makes an attack or ability check, you can burn 1 mana to force them to re-roll and take the worst result. Take the lower result. That's pretty straightforward. Auto attunement. While sustaining this power, you are attuned to any magic item you can hold in one hand, even if you don't normally qualify to do so. And you gain the benefit of the Heart of Artifice power exploit. Exploit power above for any magic item you're holding, ignoring the reduced max rank channel limit from locking this power. Daunting Presence. While sustaining this power, attack rolls against you can't score critical hits. There. Frenzy. While sustaining this effect, you gain an advantage on all attacks. Frenzy. I have something flurry. Giant growth, rapid strike. You gain 1 additional attacks when you take the attack action. This power doesn't stack with any other powers or effects that grant additional attacks during the attack action. Rapid strike can be upgraded to Frenzy. While sustaining this power, you gain advantage on all attacks. That's not bad, but it's not worth 4 frickin' mana. Don't want to expand crit range. Kind of want to blend rapid attack in with frenzy. Yeesh. Yeesh. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Jeez. It feels like a 13th level power. Be attuned to any magic item you hold. That feels like, God, that feels like 17th level, but we'll make it 13th. Daunting presence, frenzy. Thank you, Tiny Timer. Let's drop Daunting Presence down to 3. That feels right. C, D, E, F, G, H. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. Cool. Get rid of that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That feels right. There, that makes sense. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Whew. That's really good because it doesn't require a reaction or anything to do it. It just happens. You just burn mana and they suffer. That's actually really great. These are all really great. Wow, okay. Hey, we finished our set. That's ridiculous. We finished it. So badass, motherfucker. That's fantastic. Let's just count up our shits real quick and then sort things out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31. Hey, dragon. 31. 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38. So we now have 38 sustained powers. And we're going to kick through the rules. So, hey, Dragon King, I don't know if you've been around the whole time or not, man. But we've just spent 2 hours retooling all of the sustained effects to blend the sustained and locked benefits, because our playtesting at my home table, there is resistance to the lock effect. Okay, so like you sustain something, you have to maintain concentration on it. If you lock the power, you no longer have to maintain concentration on it, but it reduces the amount of mana you can use at any given time by the amount of mana that you lock. So if you are able to, like, if you're 9th level and you can channel up to a 3rd rank power using 3 mana to do so, if you were to lock 2 mana worth of sustained powers, it would reduce you down to having only 1 mana available at a time. You still have a total of 3, but 2 are locked, so now you're reduced to 1. Sorry about the finger. This is funny. But that's how the system works. So when you lock things, it cuts off your maximum amount, like your maximum spell level gets reduced by the amount of levels that you are locking. Except we refer to them as ranks and channeling instead of levels and casting. But effectively, it's if you're a 5th level wizard and you lock haste, you would only be able to use cantrips because you've locked your 1, 2, 3 spell levels to sustain without concentration that haste effect. So all these sustained effects, we previously, when you locked the mana, it not only reduced the amount of mana you could actively use right now, but it gave you a kicker effect. And the pushback we got from playtesting is that it's too complicated. It's a neat idea, but the locking of concentration, the initial benefits, and the lock benefits, it's too much for a casual player to maintain in their head. And if you are a more mechanically technical-minded player, it still is a challenge to remember, did I like this power because I could sustain it, or did I like this power only if I lock it? And so if you're thinking about the power and then you look at it, you're either going to cheat and not pay attention to whether it's supposed to be locked or not, or you are an honest player and you check and it's like, fuck. Turns out it has to be locked to use it. So in all circumstances, you either feel stupid or you feel bad or you feel like a cheater. So none of those effects were beneficial to the actual health of the game or for the success of this product. So we had to we had to kill our darling and drown the baby and get rid of the on-lock effects, which allowed us a lot more freedom of space to just make each one of these things compelling to take as an option. So all of them basically got a little bit stronger. Some of them got redistributed as strikes and reactions, but overall we've just really improved the quality of what these sustained powers are capable of. And of course, if you want to read along with these things and look at it yourself, the Patreon link that I have down below doesn't require you to be a Patreon, but it will lead you to this playtest document that we are currently working on right now. So you can dive right in and take a look at it. You can build a 20th level barbarian and using what is the Path of Fury. We'll just look at that. I love the Path of Fury, so we'll just look at it again quick. So next Monday coming up, the 2nd, where I have the day off, so I'm going to spend a longer stream on there as well, taking the barbarian, the fighter, and the rogue, taking these martial power subclass options, and then looking at the official Wizard of the Coast content. Like the example would be like, I'm going to play a martial trickster, but I want to kit my rogue out as an assassin. So from level 1 to 20, I have 15 powers I can purchase to know, so that I can spend mana on to use to pretend I am an assassin. Is it possible for me to pull off a satisfying assassin archetype kit using the powers as they stand right now, so that we could build out just a kit list of here's all of the optional archetypes you can take as a barbarian, fighter, and rogue, and here is the list of powers you want for each one of those archetypes, and make that an appendix in this book. It's like, concerned about playing with power? Here's a stat list for everything. You can already still use your Paladin Oaths, your Conclave of Rangers, your Monk Traditions. They all still exist in here. These are just alternate spell lists that you can spend your spell points or mana key on using my spell point system progression instead of spell slots or key if you wish. But you can still stay with spell slots as a ranger and just purchase these martial powers as alternate spell lists options, and there's a shitload of them. But I was going to digress for a moment and look at the Path of Raging Fury. So it's a channeling class. Channeling is not spell casting. We were specifically interested in that because barbarians can't cast spells or maintain concentration while raging. So we resolved that by creating channeling and not duplicating, for the most part, spell effects. So these are completely different spell options or magic options than what spellcasting provides. So the barbarian has a loophole there for while raging. So channeling, you gain the channeling class feature, which can be used with either strength, constitution, or charisma as your channeling ability score if you want, which is fun off the bat to have options. So you can craft the type of power fantasy that you want. Pardon the pun. Fury, first rank, you gain 1 point of Fury, and you gain 1 additional point of Fury every level until maximum of 20 at 20th level, which you can regain when you finish a long rest. So these are all using like Eldritch Knight, Arcane Trickster progression, and that they're all long rest refreshes. So you're still maintaining yourself primarily as a martial character, but now you've got this like Eldritch Knight kicker class feature on top of it. Martial powers, you can learn martial powers from the list above. You can start with 2 and eventually learn up to 15, so it scales with Paladin and Artificer, but is a definite leg up for the Ranger as well as Eldritch Knight, Arcane Trickster, and well, the poor monk only gets 6 disciplines if you take away the 4 elements. This gives him 15, which is something I already did in the Elemental Key book, which is a part of the DMsGuild bundle that I have linked down below. So 15 powers to you. You've got Fury, you've got your martial powers that you gain up to 15 at 20th level. Channeling Rage. So when you choose the path of the martial Fury, Rage gains additional benefits. While raging, you cannot maintain concentration. That still remains. If you channel a sustained power while raging, it automatically locks. So you don't have to maintain concentration on it. It's a fun little loophole. You can choose to tap or lock sustained powers as normal when you are not raging. At 14th level, you can choose to channel a sustained power as part of the bonus action used to rage. Because when you channel a sustained power, you can use either an action or a bonus action to do so. You can do them both in the same round. You can use an action and a bonus action to channel 2 separate sustained powers. Maneuvers can also be channeled using an action or a bonus action. So you have more liquid action economy for your characters using martial powers than you would for the more structured spell lists. which I think kind of makes sense because martial powers is like an intuitive magic system. It's like I do these things on the fly as it's convenient to me. So allowing things to be triggered on actions and bonus actions, like strikes are always like, I hit you, so now I'm going to dump mana into really hurting you a lot. Or exploits are, I rolled a die, and I want to make that die roll better, so I'm going to dump mana into increasing the result of that die roll. And then reactions are a circumstance triggers that I can spend mana on to then use my reaction to do the thing. So everything is on the fly, spontaneous, and so like in that same spirit, during your turn, you can spend actions and bonus actions freely to trigger sustained and maneuver powers that you choose to know. So your characters can always kit out their power list so that they always have a bonus action, a reaction, an action, or strikes that they can use when they hit things with their iterative attacks during the attack action. So it allows you to build in high efficiency action economy into your character, but it's going to cost you mana to do it. So it's kind of limited battery until you get to higher levels, and you either find ways to recycle your mana, or you've just got a large enough battery that you can just get through the day with it. So continuing on, Furious Power. At third level, while raging, you add your rage bonus to the DC of any powers that require a saving throw, which is great because there's a lot of powers that require saving throws. So stacking up that DC is beneficial. And then Brutal Fury, which is Empowered Wounds at 6th level. At 6th level, as a reaction to taking damage on a critical hit or failing a saving throw that deals damage while raging, you can recover 1 spent fury up to your max fury limit. So this leans into the power fantasy of your barbarian is the one that should be tanking damage. Not only do they have resistances from their rage, and not only do they have the D12 hit points, but the empowered wounds allows them to just take that damage, like deal it on to me. And when they get crit or whenever they're being targeted by a spell effect, they can just use their reaction, and I think, as it says here, they regain a point of fury. So at 6th level, they only have 6 points. This is actually super useful. If you're planning on taking it on the chin anyway, it's a 2-step method to have your cleric convert their spell points into your fury. Because if you're going to take hits on saving throws for damage, you could choose to fail the saving throw if you want, just to get the mana back if you need it. That's silly, but you could. And if you have a good healing battery behind you, throwing spell points into you to heal you up, then you're basically just converting spell points into power points on a per damage basis, which is a fun action economy use, I think. Brutal Fury at 10th level, when you score a critical hit, you can choose to forego the additional damage die and instead gain a point of temporary fury that you can burn immediately to channel any strike power you know. Fury in your pool can be combined with temporary fury to channel these strike powers up to your max channel limit. So at 10th level, you have a max fury limit of 3. So you could spend 3 mana to deal like 3d8 extra smite damage, like with a face strike or a corroding strike or whatever. There's like 28 of them. So, but if you scored a critical hit, you could, instead of gaining the extra crit die, you could gain a free point of mana, and then out of your battery, you could take 2 more points to stack on top of it to make a total of 3 points. One's temporary from the crit, and the other 2 are from your mana pool. So, but you're still limited to that at 10th level, 3-level limit. So, but then at 13th level, you can forego 2 additional damage dice to gain 2 points of fury. And at 17th level, you can forego 3 additional damage dice to gain 3 points of fury. You know, if you're using like a 2-handed axe or something like that, and you're doing 2d6 damage already, then, or like a great sword doing d12 damage or whatever, your power die is never going to get above a d10. So if you're using weapons that deal more than d10 damage, maybe it's to your benefit just to keep those crit dice on hand. But if your character is just wielding like a bastard sword or a long sword or whatever, and you're only doing d10 damage anyway, you may as well be using Brutal Fury every time, because unless the crit dice are going to be larger than your power die, you're gaining free power that dumps into damage. It's not dealing double damage, So there's that. That's a big factor to take into consideration. But if you are trying to conserve your mana, and you don't need to have the extra crit damage, you want to, like, say, banish your opponent instead. At 17th level, you could forego your crit, toss in an extra point of mana to pay for the 4. It only costs you 1, plus the 3 temporary mana you got for free, and then blip, you just cause your enemy to get banished or paralyzed or whatever. So fun options there. And then destructive purging. At 14th level, when you dismiss any number of locked powers while raging, you deal 1 power die of force damage per rank of power dismissed to creatures within 10 feet. Dex save for half. DC equals 8 plus your channeling stat plus your rage bonus plus your ranks dismissed. So any creature that fails the saving throw is knocked prone. So at this is 14th level. So let's say you're using strength with a strength of 20, which is a plus 5. So it's 8 plus 5 is 13, plus your rage bonus at 14th level is a plus 4. That's plus 18. And at 14th level, let's say you have 4 mana stacked up on locked powers and you dismiss all of them. So that's 8, 12, 16. Your DC is a 21. So it's a dex save 21. Any creature that fails is knocked prone. Whether they succeed or not, if it's 4 mana worth of powers that you're dismissing, it would be 4d10 force damage. No, sorry, at 14th level is a d8. So it'd be 4d8 force damage to all creatures in a 10-foot area of you. This is repeatable. You could, and dismissing powers doesn't take an action. So on your turn, you can dismiss powers anytime you want. So this is a free AoE attack effect that you have per round. It's your turn. You use your bonus action to rage. It's 14th level. So on top of that, you lock a 4th rank, you channel a 4th rank sustained power, which immediately locks because you're raging. That's a bonus action. Now you have your full attack sequence. At the end of the round, you can dismiss your bonus. You can dismiss that 4 mana worth of channeled, locked, sustained powers, and so you have the lock effect. You're raging. You deal your 2 or 3 attacks, depending on how many you have coming your way, depending on what kind of character you are. So you do your attacks. You still have a bonus action. Oh no, you use a bonus action for rage. So you use that. You're at the end of your turn. You dismiss all of your locked powers, and it deals an extra 48 force damage to all the creatures around you. So there is endless uses for that, and it is ridiculous. So when we jump in next week, we could look at say Path of the Totem, and look at the eagle options and the bear options and the wolf options, and see how the 100 some odd martial powers that we have built out here will help execute that Totem of the Bear experience, for example. So let's. I'm doing a head count here real quick. So let me get back into that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Something went wrong. Hold on. Let me do this again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38. Good. And strikes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. So we're at 25 strikes. Cold that hurt. Reactions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33. That's accurate. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, accurate. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34. Okay, those are good. So 34 plus 29. I feel like I should use a calculator on this because I feel like I'm going to be disrupted. So 34 plus 29 plus 33 plus 25 plus 38 equals 159 powers currently. 159 powers. Plus there's feats, plus there's damage kickers, plus there's meta power feats that you can take with the powers as well. So there's still an additional 40 some odd options on top of that. So we're doing good here. We're doing really, really good. I'm going to, let's see, we're at 2.5 hours now. It is 1:10. I still got a little bit of time left. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to run through these mechanics real quick to make sure I like how, I mean, the actual mechanical list for martial powers themselves, it's like 2 pages. It's pretty brief. So let's just kick through these things to make sure all the wording still makes sense and see if there's any caveats or exceptions in here that I've ascertained in the playtesting we do at my home table in the past couple months. So martial powers don't require material components, and you can channel powers while you are holding objects. There's 5 disciplines of power. Exploits modify actions and die rolls. Maneuvers are actions you can take. Reactions are actions and bonus actions you can take. Reactions are triggered by various circumstances. Strikes are channeled when you hit with a weapon, and sustained require concentration. There. So, exploit powers. Exploit powers are instant effects that are channeled when specific circumstances occur. There's no limit to how many exploits can be channeled each turn if circumstances apply to their triggering condition to their trigger. And there's mana to channel them. You can channel a number of exploits together equal. You can channel a number of exploits together to equal to your max rank. You decide before knowing the result of the roll. You can channel a number of exploits together equal to your max rank and exploits that modify die rolls can be channeled at any time prior to knowing the result of the roll. That might be a better way of wording it. This is why we hire editors, so that I can do my best and then pay someone to make it better. When you use an exploit to add a power die, the result of to add a power die to the result of a d20 ability check, attack, or saving throw, you can roll 1 power die for each mana spent, adding the highest power die result to the d20 roll, and discard the remaining power dice results. For example, if you channel 2 mana into 1 exploit, or channel 2 separate exploits and add 1 power die per mana to an ability check, you would roll both power dice and add the highest result, not both. So anytime you're modifying a single die roll, you could have multiple exploits that could modify that die result. But if you're going to channel, like here, 2 dice, you're only going to use the best die result. So that's just how you keep. That's how you allow somebody to spend more and more mana to have more and more likely effect of success without completely blowing the power curve out of the bounded accuracy system of 5e. Like none of these exploits outpace what a Bardic Inspiration die would do. Bardic Inspiration uses a D12 at 17th level. 18th level, we're only using a D10 as our power dice, but you could throw 5 D10s at once, costing you 5 mana to do so, while it only costs that bard a single inspiration die to throw that one 12-sided die. However, it is statistically likely that your 5d10 is going to result with one of those dice being higher than the single die result of that d12. It could only have an 11 or a 12 as a better result of all those d10s that you're throwing around. So if you're willing to spend the mana to assure, well, to edge your bets to get a better die result, you can toss a shitload of mana at it to help make sure you're getting a good die roll. So, but it's never going to outpace what a bard would already be able to do for you. So, and these things do stack. So you can have a bard helping you, and you could dump 5 mana into it, and then end up getting a plus 22 to your die roll. But that's no different than if a battle master had used a D12 superiority die to affect a grappling check result. Plus using inspiration die from a bard, it could potentially be a plus 24 as a battle master kicked with a bardic inspiration die. So these martial powers aren't outpacing what you can already do inside of the game. It's just providing you an alternate mechanic that allows you to become more stable, like more reliable. It's like more it's reliability as opposed to spike. So anyway, there you go there. And I mean, that's all I have to say about exploits there for the moment. So maneuver powers can be channeled as an action or a bonus action. You spend additional mana to channel maneuvers unless it's specified. You cannot spend additional mana to increase of a maneuver unless it specifies that you can. The same maneuver can be channeled twice in one round. Because you have an action and a bonus action, you can use the same maneuver at the same time, which is also a nice improvement over spellcasting in general. But again, these powers only go up to 4th rank, and you don't gain 4th rank until 13th level. So it's modest. Reaction powers. Each power describes the circumstances that can trigger the reaction power. You can't add mana to a reaction unless it specifies that you can. To increase the effects of a reaction unless it specifies that you can. Looks like I'm using a contraction there, so I'm going to stick with that. You can't spend there. Strike powers. Strike powers are similar to Divine Smite. When you hit with a weapon attack, you can channel mana to deal additional damage and target the creature with the strike's effects. The same strike can be channeled multiple times each round when you succeed in an attack roll, but any persisting effects overlap other similar effects. For example, if you use a maneuver that blinds a creature until they succeed a saving throw to end the effect, targeting the same creature with another power that also blinds the same creature, the same target, would not have two persisting effects. One save would end the blindness from both maneuvers. There. Sustained powers can be channeled as a bonus action unless the description indicates otherwise. Can be channeled as an action or bonus action unless the description indicates otherwise. Multiple powers can be sustained simultaneously up to your max rank. If a sustained power adds power dice to the damage of an attack, this damage stacks with other maneuvers, reactions, strikes, and sustained powers that also add power dice to the damage of an attack. Sustained powers require concentration. Concentration DC is half damage taken or 10 plus total mana sustained. Whenever you take damage, make a Constitution saving throw against half the damage. Whenever you make any saving throw, if the result of the save is less than your concentration DC, all sustained powers end. If a saving throw results in taking damage, if you already successfully maintain concentration from the saving throw, you don't have to also make a Constitution saving throw against the damage taken unless the damage is ongoing, dealing damage again on subsequent rounds. This damage on subsequent rounds requires a Constitution saving throw against half the damage dealt. Sustained powers remain active until dismissed during your turn as a free action. If the power is successfully dispelled, as well as when you start a short or long rest, fall unconscious, or lose concentration. If a sustained power is locked, you can't lose concentration while the effect is sustained, but the power can otherwise be ended as noted above. Each mana locked reduces the max rank you can channel. This can't be reduced below 0. Locking a power can be part of channeling a sustained power or as detailed in the power's description. Locking a power can be part of channeling a sustained as part of initially channeling a sustained power or as an action or bonus action at a later time during your turns. For example, if your max rank of power is 2, you can channel up to 2 mana of sustained powers. If a second rank sustained power adds +1 power die to the damage of weapon attack roll, and you spend 2 mana, to channel, and you spend 2 mana and you then channel a strike that adds +2 power dice to the damage roll. The total amount of damage added is the total of 3 power dice. The concentration DC for sustaining the power is 12 or half damage taken. If instead you lock the sustained power, you don't need to make concentration checks, but your max rank of power is reduced by 2 while the power is sustained, dropping your max rank in this example from 2 to 0. You would not be able to channel any additional powers until your max rank is restored to more than 0 by ending the locked effects. Exploits can be used with D20 die roll triggered by sustained powers. if your current max rank is high enough to channel the power. I think that's pretty straightforward for now. If a, let's get rid of that. If a sustained power triggers a d20 die roll, you can modify this roll with any exploits you know if the max rank I don't think I actually need that because it's already been assumed above the exploits, so I can drop that. Ranged effects. Martial powers that target enemies either have a listed range and either an area of effect or targets a creature. Other powers require a weapon attack to channel. If a power has a listed range or area of effect, you only need to see the creature or location to affect it. Powers that require a weapon attack can be done. Tap for timer. Powers that require a weapon attack can be done with any weapon you're proficient with, natural weapons or unarmed strikes. Thrown and ranged weapons can use powers when targeting within normal range unless a power, ability, or feature says otherwise. Within normal range. And then we had like the sniper sustained power below that allows you to attack at far range. How to put it? You only need to see a creature or location to affect it. Unobstructed. That's important. Like if you're looking through glass, you can't target it because that's cover. You only need to see an unobstructed creature or location to affect it. Hand or a held weapon or object. Don't require material components. No, that's not actually accurate. That is actually not an accurate statement, so I need to take that back. Martial powers don't require some or verbal components. And you can channel powers while you're holding objects. Creatures targeted by powers. No. Can sense the origin of the power when they are targeted. There, that works. Range of effects. Targeting powers, allies. Creatures that are identified as friendly or otherwise side with you during an encounter. Enemies equal creatures that are identified as hostile or otherwise side against you during an encounter. Creatures include both allies and enemies, as well as creatures that are otherwise unidentified during an encounter. Area effect equals the origin of an area of effect is any corner. The origin of an area of effect is any corner of any square within range of the power. For example, targeting powers, range. The origin of an area of effect, range. The origin of an area of effect is any corner of any square within range of the power. For example, a power with a 30-foot range affecting a 5-foot radius can target any corner of any square up to 6 squares away on a 5-foot square grid, affecting a 2x2 squared centered on the chosen point. Disrupting and dismissing powers. Any power that affects a creature ends if the character channeling the power falls unconscious or dies. Many powers that affect a creature end when they succeed a saving throw. Each power requires a separate save. Effect. Can require some sustained powers impose effects on creatures. Creatures that succeed saves to end effects caused by sustained powers don't necessarily end the sustained power. Rather, they end the power's effect on the creature. But any persisting effects overlaps similar effects. For example, if you use a maneuver that blinds a creature until they succeed a saving throw to end the effect, targeting the same creature with another power that blinds the same target would not have two persisting effects. One save ends the blindness from both creatures. Similarly, if a maneuver blinds all creatures in a 10-foot area, in a 10-foot radius area, each creature saves separately, and only those that succeed in the condition. While those that failed continue to be affected. Are continue to be affected. Period. Is that really all? Wow, that's all I have to actually say about powers in general. That's pretty concise. I'm concerned it's too concise. It's awfully trite. But so far so good. Shit. All right. That was our workload for the day. That's what we had assigned ourselves to achieve, and by God, we achieved it. So far, everything's remaining consistent with us. Let's go down to our list to-dos. Our honeydew list, as it were. Double check, thrown versus that's resolved. Disrupt and dismiss language is still good. That's still good. Cleanup class. I think I'm okay with that. Still good with the cleanup class language. So coming up Jan 9th. Cleaning up class language. We'll do that. So next, this upcoming Monday, we'll be building examples of Barbarian, Fighter, and Rogue subclasses, and potentially find opportunities for us to create additional new powers that we hadn't thought of in the process of trying to figure out how to resolve those subclasses. Potentially. Let's see, and then on the 9th, designing unique power gear examples, DM toolbox for building examples of creatures of each rank using martial powers, shunt mechanics and powers. We were talking about shunt over on Terran Pound's Indestructible Designosphere Discord channel where we hang out at. And the idea that you came up with, it was Robotic Raven Mage, I believe is whose ideas these were. He designed a shunt spell, which basically was target creature moves X feet in Y direction. And that's such a general, loose move somebody about. He was like, what should we call those things? And my brain said, well, that idea is like shunt. So that creates the shunt action, or the shunt meta condition, where this power will shunt you 15 feet to the left. or this power will shunt all creatures within 30 feet 20 feet closer to the origin of the effect. Like, you can use shunt as a verb for moving things around, and then just determine which direction that they move. So on the second, we're going to stick to our course and look at building out these subclass options and potentially padding our power list from the observations that we make through that exercise. And then a week later, we're going to come back and we're going to develop more shunt mechanics. We're then going to build power gear for an appendix, and we're going to build examples of creatures using martial powers, and like how to scale those with the different rank of like the different CR of creatures as a DM toolkit sort of thing. Yeah, and then I've got random ideas here for rogue, like Trap Springer, and I resolved that one already. Like spell cracking is like using magic your thieves tools to disable spell effects. Sensate stealth, using stealth to mask scent and other senses. These are ideas that I have. I think the coolest thing about this project is once I get the core book out and it's out there, it's super easy for me to make I could build like a Boros Swiftblade, and like here's the kit that you want to have for any Boros character being a Swiftblade character. Here's your 15 powers to increase your accuracy, your speed, your action economy, and your defenses, which is basically what the Swiftblade has in MTG as a character, as a creature card. Freaking cool characters, but they could be rangers, they could be paladins, they could be barbarians, they could be fighters, they could be monks, they could be rogues. So it's not so much a subclass archetype that we want to build as the Swiftblade. Instead, we want to build a Swiftblade kit out of the powers that exist already. And it's like, hey, if you want to be a Swiftblade ranger, consider taking the Gloomstalker. Like, make that your subclass, and then on top of that, take these 3 spells and these 12 powers, and that'll make you a pretty damn good Swiftblade. If you're a paladin, perhaps instead you want to take Oath of Vengeance and then use these 15 powers, or like maybe these 10 powers and these 5 spells from the paladin spell list, and that's your paladin Swiftblade. So like we can build out an archetype idea, and then underneath that we can thread in the 6 or 7. Well, you also have warlocks that can take powers as invocations, and then artificers can't learn powers, but they can create devices that are infused with a specific power that you then have to use your artificer mana pool through the item to trigger the effect. So I could make a sword of radiant strikes, so that when I attack with that specific sword, I'll be doing sword damage, plus I can channel the Radiant Strike power because I'm using my Radiant Strike sword. I infused it with this magic today when I woke up. So now I can do that. Or I could hand you my Radiant Strike sword. If you have a mana battery yourself, you can then dump that mana battery into the weapon if you're proficient with it. So those are the ideas there. So there's a lot of really cool shit we can do with this. Like we could make a Boros book, like Boros Power, or the Power of Boros, maybe. And then like take MTG cards and like just find the common thread through like maybe 50 or 60 cards. And if there's a few things that stand out as consistencies, if it doesn't exist as a power already inside the main book here, we can then add a list of Boros powers that, like, if you're in the Boros Guild, here's unique powers that are available for you to use. Or if your DM allows, they can reflavor them to be used by other guilds as well. But the core would be that it would be used for Boros. Then we could have like Simic powers, which is like a bunch of transformation stuff, like shape-shifting and alteration stuff and growing new options on your body. There's a ton of really cool things we could do with that. Like each one of those guilds could do that. In Strixhaven, each college could have specific powers. In Theros, each god could grant specific powers. In Eberron, each mark, each dragon mark could provide specific powers that correspond with the type of mark that's on you. So there's like a lot of cool stuff we can potentially do with this book once it publishes, and it's honestly it's getting damn close to being finished, like the manuscript being finished to push off to our editor to get chewed on and revised. I think we are realistically going to have this manuscript done in February. Hand off probably to Ken if he's still available for a handoff to him. Hopefully he gets it done and passed back to us by April. At that point in April, I believe that both the Spelljammer Combat and Exploration book and the Eberron Crystals of Mabar adventure, I think both of those are going to be done at that point. So that opens up my entire plate to work on nothing but martial powers. It'll come back from editing. We'll have just finished 2 books. We can drop this one immediately into our layouts program and start doing page layouts for it, and then do the artwork and punch that thing out maybe by June. Maybe May, probably June. And then the only thing we have left on our plate officially at that point is the In Command of Guilds and Kingdoms and In Command of Squads and Armies. So, boy, this shit's pacing out, man. I am excited. I will probably be on later on tonight. I'm going to take a break here. It's 1:45 here in Seattle. I suspect I'm going to be back on probably by 4 or 5, like in 2 or 3 hours from now. Probably 5. I'll probably jump back on at 5 and do more cartography work. Maybe, I don't know. I'm going to do some sort of art something. Either Eberron or Spelljammer. I'm not sure which, but one of those. So that's it for now. Thanks for showing up. If you're new to the channel, definitely check out this playtest content and be welcome to drop me a line through Patreon or my email, or if you know where I'm at on Discord, give me a shout out. Follow me on Twitter so you can hear when I'm going live. And please like and subscribe and watch other content that I've created so that I can get to my 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 hours of consumed content, so YouTube will monetize me. I'm hoping to get there in the next 2 years. I don't have bold expectations about how quickly this channel is going to accumulate interest, considering the long form and niche options that we're exploring in the first place. It's got probably a very limited audience, but if this stuff was cool to you, please do subscribe, share, and I'm looking very much forward to seeing y'all again. Martial Powers on Monday, Eberron tomorrow morning, Eberron Cartography tomorrow morning, and whatever it is we do tonight, it's a wild card. The muse will tell us what to do, and we'll do what she says. So until then, I'll catch you guys later. Bye.